Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with the other part of this forecast that we're following as well, Elizabeth.
The worst of this week looks like it's going to be this weekend, which is unfortunate. A lot of things could happen around here. We'll outline some of those. I know there are a lot of festivals, football games, that sort of thing. Bluegrass Festival in downtown Raleigh. Weather isn't looking great, but things could change. You know, today's Monday and that is Friday. This storm does continue to strengthen. You can just look at the satellite picture and see the darker colors just growing with this. Those darker colors are the colder cloud tops, and so that means the storm is getting taller and intensifying. You can see some of these heavy bands of rain that are approaching Cuba right now. The storm is moving northwest at 14 miles per hour right now, 275 miles southwest of western Cuba. Category 1 now could be Category 3 as it moves past the western tip of Cuba tonight and early tomorrow. So within 24 hours, it could intensify that much because it's moving over such warm water. The ocean temperatures here across parts of the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean are well above normal, and that's the fuel that these storms use. Category 4 possible overnight Tuesday night into Wednesday, and then it may weaken as it gets closer to Florida. It's going to run into some wind shear that tears the top of the storm off and creates or causes it to weaken, and that's certainly the hope. A storm surge is going to be a big issue for folks here in Florida, as well as some wind and some heavy rain. That heavy rain will move on up through the southeast. I'll show you what we could see here in just a second, but let's talk about some of the warnings and advisories. Hurricane watch for Tampa, tropical storm watch south of Tampa, and for the Florida Keys, or at least part of them, tropical storm warning. Those will likely change to hurricane warnings as the storm gets a little closer. This is a look at the computer model plots moving up through Georgia and South Carolina, making potentially a right turn across North Carolina and Virginia. But those are just some of the model plots. Certainly, no matter where the center of the remnants go, we're likely to see some heavy rain Friday, Saturday. This is Saturday at 9 o'clock, looking at anywhere from 1 to almost 3 inches, and then those totals may go up again late Saturday night into Sunday, just depending on the timing of the storm. So heavy rain is likely, 2 to 4 inches possible. Isolated tornadoes, especially in our eastern counties, but that'll depend on the track of the storm. And gusty winds as well are possible, 20 to 30 miles per hour. So that's not enough to cause widespread wind damage. This is more likely to be a big rain event for us with those isolated tornadoes as well. We get another reinforcing shot of some cool air that comes in tonight and just continues to drop our temperature. We'll see increasing clouds Thursday with a high of only 70, and our morning lows are in the 50s. So that's jacket weather in my book. We're going to watch the potential for some heavy rain over the weekend, and our temperatures will likely be in the 60s and 70s.
Active in the Pacific as well as in the Atlantic as we continue to track the tropics. Peta, Ian, is one that we are keeping a close eye on.
That's right, Renee. It strengthened this morning into a Category 1 hurricane where it's going to continue to impact the Caribbean. We also have this one broad area of low pressure out in the central Atlantic. This was the 70% chance of development within the next 2 and the next 5 days, so that will be one to watch as well. You can see Hurricane Ian right now bringing wind speeds upwards of 75 miles per hour as it moves to the northwest at 14 miles per hour. This is Cuba right here, and you can see it's moving towards the north and west, likely to make landfall at some point tomorrow as a Category 3 hurricane. And we're watching this very closely because of the warm sea surface temperatures in this area. We anticipate some rapid intensification, likely to strengthen into a Category 4 hurricane as it enters the Gulf of Mexico. And with a nice dip in the jet stream that's over the southeast, we could potentially see this system weaken before making landfall at some point across the western half of Florida. We are going to continue to watch this because remnant rainfall could potentially move in by the end of the week across North Carolina. So this is likely to bring a big dosing of rainfall across the western half of Cuba. Upwards of 16 inches will be possible there, and it could bring up to 6 inches of rainfall across the Florida Keys. This is taking a look at what we expect through Wednesday. Now, going beyond Wednesday and looking across the southeast of the United States, you can see this is going to bring a swath of heavy rainfall for us in North Carolina. We're watching the potential for 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. Isolated higher amounts cannot be ruled out with this system. But But I do want to show you what we're tracking here locally today. It is beautiful out there. We have this cold front that moved through yesterday. Behind it, we are seeing a lot more sunshine. Temperatures this afternoon heading into the 80s. It's going to be a fantastic day to potentially dine outside. Maybe you're heading out for lunch at 12 o'clock. We'll be at 77 degrees, and then 82 for the afternoon high. Dinner outside will be nice as well, with temperatures in the lower 70s as well as the upper 80s. And it's going to feel really tolerable today with dew points in the mid 50s. By Tuesday and Wednesday, our dew points are in the lower 40s. We have refreshing air moving in. Additional fall-like days will be on tap for this week, and we're going to see our temperatures fall into the 60s by the time we head into Friday, and that's because we're anticipating rain from Ian to move in, and with a lot of clouds, that's really going to slow down any warming that we can get on Thursday and Friday. We'll see temperatures gradually rebound into the upper 70s by Sunday, but we do anticipate our rain chances to go down as well. Coming up, we're going to go ahead and talk about Ian in just a little bit more details. I'm going to show you some of the reasons why we expect it to rapidly intensify in the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico over the next 2 days.